announce the results of their talks. And may I now invite His Excellency President Quang to deliver his remarks. Your Excellency Donald Trump, President of the United States of America, ladies and gentlemen, members of the media, President Trump and I have had fruitful talks about the bilateral relations and regional and international issues of mutual interest. We both share the view that the bilateral relations have scored substantial results over the years, delivering enormous benefits to the people of both countries. During President Trump's state visit to Vietnam, Vietnam and the United States issued a joint statement pledging to further deepen the Vietnam-United States comprehensive partnership on the basis of mutual respect for each other's independence, sovereignty, territorial integrity, and political systems. Within the visit's framework, the two sides reached important agreements on economy and trade. Addressing war legacy issues will receive higher priority, and we are committed to collaborate actively on this matter. Vietnam highly values the United States' decision to cooperate with Vietnam on dioxin cleanup at Bien Hoa Air Base after the two countries successfully concluded the dioxin cleanup project at Da Nang Airport. The President and I discussed regional and international issues of mutual interest. We agreed to strengthen our close coordination at regional and international forums to contribute to the maintenance of peace and stability in the region and the world at large. We also agreed on the importance of the ASEAN-United States strategic partnership. We believe that the development of Vietnam-US relations would not only benefit each country, but also contribute to strengthening ASEAN-US relations for peace, stability, cooperation, and development in the Asia-Pacific and the world. The President's state visit to Vietnam marks a milestone in Vietnam-US relations, creating strong momentum for the substantive and effective and stable development of the bilateral comprehensive partnership. I wish President Trump and members of the U.S. delegation a successful visit, and I hope that you will have good impressions of our country and our people. I sincerely thank Mr. President personally and the American people for the warm friendship towards our country and people, and I appreciate the great efforts to develop Vietnam-US bilateral relations. I would also like to thank all American and Vietnamese reporters who are here today. Thank you very much. Thank you, President Quang. May I now invite His Excellency Mr. Donald Trump, President of the United States, to deliver his remarks.
Thank you very much, President Quang, and thank you for your tremendous hospitality during my first visit to Vietnam. It is a pleasure to be with you right here in Hanoi. On behalf of the entire American delegation, I want to thank the Vietnamese people for their warm welcome and to reaffirm the strong friendship and growing partnership between our two nations. Travelers from all around the world, including many Americans, come to Vietnam each year to admire your magnificent limestone mountains, cycle through your many winding hillsides, or swim in the majestic Ha Long Bay. Your nation's magnificence brings different people together from around the world in shared appreciation of the great beauty and splendor of your wonderful country. Over the past 2 decades, our two nations have come together to find common purpose based on common interests, and that's what's happening. It is those crucial bonds we're here to reaffirm today. In May, the United States transferred the U.S. Coast Guard cutter Morgenthau to the people and country of Vietnam. Named for U.S. Treasury Secretary Henry Morgenthau, Jr., this vessel once patrolled the coasts of Vietnam during the Vietnam War. Today, the same American vessel, a gift between partners, is sailing the waters of the Pacific on its way to patrol these coasts for the people of Vietnam. This month, we mark Veterans Day in the United States, and out of war and conflict, we have achieved a deep friendship, partnership, and we have achieved peace. Bound by mutual respect and common experience, our veterans laid the foundation for that achievement between our nations. Our decades-long joint humanitarian efforts with the Vietnamese people and government to account for and recover personnel still missing, so important to us. From the war honors, these horrors of this horrendous war, we want our service members support, and we give total support to the families, and we strengthen the foundation of our comprehensive partnership that is so important to us. In the spirit of our friendship, I want to congratulate President Quang for hosting a very successful APEC leaders meeting this week in Da Nang. Congratulations, you did a fantastic job. Thank you. As I stated in my address to the APEC CEO Summit on Friday, the United States is committed to a free and open Indo-Pacific where strong, independent nations respect each other's sovereignty, uphold the rule of law, and advance responsible commerce. We want our partners in the Indo-Pacific to be proud and self-reliant, not proxies or satellites. We look forward to achieving a bilateral trade agreement with partners who abide by the principles of fair and reciprocal trade. Two very important words, fair and reciprocal. It hasn't been that way for the United States, almost at all. And we're changing that, and we're changing it rapidly. For trade to work, all countries must play by the rules. I am encouraged that Vietnam has recently become the fastest growing export market to the United States. Mr. President, I applaud your efforts to implement economic reforms and increase Vietnam's trade and investment in all directions. The United States is enthusiastic about reforms that promote economic prosperity for all Vietnamese citizens as we look to your growing middle class as a key market for American goods and services. We just had a great discussion about American goods and services coming in to Vietnam. Two-way street. I am confident that American energy, agriculture, financial services, aviation, digital commerce, and defense products are able to meet all of your many commercial needs, and in fact, not only meet them, but what we do is better than anybody else. Moving forward, I welcome Vietnam's commitment to eliminating trade barriers for U.S. agricultural products. It's very important. We must ensure that American farmers and all American companies, especially those in digital services and e-commerce, can compete on a level playing field. And we look forward to working with you to combat predatory and unfair trade practices in the region. On security issues, we continue to work with our Vietnamese partners and with partners across the region on a range of challenges, including maritime security, counterterrorism, human and drug trafficking, cybercrime, and disease prevention. Later today, I will travel to the Philippines, where I will discuss many of these issues at the U.S.-ASEAN Summit and the East Asia Summit. The ASEAN Summit is going to be something, I think, very, very special. I look forward to attending. We will also discuss the growing threat from North Korea. As I said in my speech to the Republic of Korea's National Assembly, All responsible nations must act now to ensure that North Korea's rogue regime stops threatening the world with unthinkable loss of life. Safety and security are goals that should unite all civilized nations. We want progress, not provocation. I mean, we have been provoked. The world has been provoked. We don't want that. We want stability, not chaos. And we want peace, not war. Mr. President, thank you for being such a gracious host during my time right here in Vietnam. I toured areas of Vietnam, and it is magnificent what's happening. Over the past 2 decades, our nations have continued to grow closer in advancing our shared interests. The history of our 2 nations reveals the possibilities for peace and progress in our world. Moving forward as partners, we will achieve great prosperity and success for the American people and for the Vietnamese people. I thank you very much. Thank you.
Xin trân trọng cảm ơn Tổng thống Donald Trump.
Thank you very much, President Donald Trump. And now the floor is open to your questions.
Kính thưa Chủ tịch nước Trần Đại Quang, phóng viên Thông tấn xã Việt Nam xin có câu hỏi.
From Vietnam News Agency.
Cho biết về những tiến bộ trong quan hệ Việt Nam Hoa Kỳ những năm gần đây.
Can you elaborate on the progresses in the Vietnam-U.S. relations over the past years?
Thưa các bạn,
well, dear reporters,
thời gian qua,
over the past
quan hệ
years,
Việt Nam Hoa Kỳ
the Vietnam-U.S.
đã có bước
relations
tiến triển tốt
have
đẹp
made very
trên
strong
tất cả các lĩnh
progress
vực
in all areas:
chính trị, ngoại giao,
politics,
kinh tế,
diplomacy,
thương
economy,
mại,
trade,
khoa học công nghệ,
science and
y
technology,
tế,
health,
nhân đạo và giao lưu
humanitarian
nhân dân.
areas, and people-to-people
Đặc biệt,
exchange, and in
Kết quả các
particular,
cuộc tiếp xúc và trao
high-level
đổi đoàn cấp cao giữa
contacts,
hai nước
meetings, and
trên nền
exchange of
tảng
delegations
quan hệ đối tác toàn diện
on the
là thực
basis
chất
of the
và hiệu
comprehensive
quả.
partnership have produced
Trong đó,
substantive and
chuyến
meaningful
thăm Hoa Kỳ
results. And among
của Thủ
them,
tướng Việt Nam Nguyễn Xuân Phúc
the visit to the
tháng 5
United States
năm
by Prime Minister Nguyễn
2017
Xuân Phúc in May
và
this
chuyến thăm
year,
cấp nhà
and
nước
the
tới
state
Việt
visit
Nam
to
của ngài
Vietnam,
Tổng thống Donald Trump
Honorable President Donald Trump,
ngay trong năm đầu của nhiệm kỳ
in the
là
very
những điểm
first year of
nhấn
his
quan
term
trọng.
of office are the highlights.
Cuộc gặp của lãnh đạo cấp cao Việt Nam
Meetings
với ngài
between
Tổng
leaders
thống
of
trong chuyến
Vietnam
thăm
and the President
là rất bổ ích.
during his visit
Chúng tôi
are
đã
very
có cơ hội
useful,
tiếp xúc và hiểu nhau hơn,
and the meetings give us
cùng
the
thúc đẩy
opportunity
các
to
vấn đề hai
understand
bên
each other better
quan tâm.
and to work together on areas of mutual interest.
Quan hệ đối tác toàn diện Việt Nam Hoa Kỳ phát triển thực
The
chất và hiệu
substantive
quả
and effective growth of
đã,
the comprehensive
đang
partnership
và
between the
sẽ
two countries
mang lại
have
lợi
been
ích
and
cho
will
nhân
be
dân hai nước,
delivering benefits
góp
to our
phần
two
duy
peoples
trì
and
hòa bình,
contributing
ổn
to
định,
the maintenance
hợp
of
tác
peace,
và
stability,
phát triển
cooperation,
ở
and
khu vực
prosperity
và
in the
trên thế giới.
region and the world.
Xin cảm ơn.
Thank you.
Xin mời câu hỏi tiếp theo.
Tôi đến từ Đài truyền hình Việt Nam. Xin có câu hỏi dành cho
from
Chủ tịch nước Trần Đại Quang.
VTV and have another question for President Trần Đại Quang. Can you please provide your assessment of the future outlook of the Vietnam-U.S. relationship? Thank you for your question.
Của tôi với ngài Tổng
Well,
thống,
during the talks that I
chúng tôi
had
nhận thấy
with the President,
quan hệ
we
giữa hai nước còn nhiều dư địa
acknowledge that there is still much
phát triển
room for further expansion
trao đổi
of the
về các biện
bilateral
pháp
relations,
nhằm
and
đưa
we
quan hệ hai nước
discussed ways and
phát
means
triển
to further
chất
strengthen the
và
cooperation
hiệu quả
in a
hơn
more substantive
trong thời
and
gian
effective
sắp tới.
manner in the time to come.
Hai bên cũng cam
And the two
kết
sides
sẽ tăng
also
cường tiếp xúc
pledged to
và đối thoại,
increase
đặc biệt
contacts and
là tiếp tục thúc
dialogues,
đẩy trao
especially
đổi, gặp gỡ cấp cao
the high-level
thông qua các
meetings
cái chuyến thăm
through
song
bilateral
phương
visits and
và tiếp xúc
meetings
bên lề các
at
cái
the
diễn đàn
sidelines
khu vực và
of the
thế giới.
regional and international forums.
Thúc đẩy cái đà
Two
phát
sides
triển
will also
quan hệ
promote
kinh tế thương
the
mại đầu
momentum
tư
for
trên cơ sở
development of the
cùng có
economic
lợi,
trade investment relations on
hạn
the
chế thấp nhất
basis of
những
mutual
cái tranh chấp,
interest,
thương mại
minimize
đầu tư
the
giữa
trade
hai nước,
investment disputes,
tiếp tục
and will
triển
continue
khai hiệu
to
quả
effectively
các cái thỏa thuận
implement
kinh tế
the
thương mại
economic
mà hai
and
bên
trade
đã ký
agreements
kết.
that we have signed.
Đẩy mạnh hợp
We'll
tác
also
về khoa học,
strengthen cooperation in
công nghệ,
science and
môi
technology,
trường, biến
environment,
đổi khí hậu
climate change,
và tăng cường hợp tác nhân đạo,
humanitarian
đào
issues,
tạo,
human resources development, and expanding people-to-people exchange.
Thông qua đó nhằm tăng cường hơn nữa
for the enhanced comprehensive
toàn
partnership
diện vì lợi ích của nhân dân
in
hai
the
nước
interest of the two
và hòa bình,
peoples and for the benefit
hợp tác,
of peace,
phát triển
stability,
trong khu vực
cooperation and
và
development
trên thế
in
giới.
the region and the
Xin
world.
cảm ơn.
Thank you.
Xin trân trọng cảm ơn Chủ tịch nước Trần
Well,
Đại
thank
Quang.
you.
Sau đây
Thank
là
you very
câu hỏi
much.
dành
John
cho
Roberts of Fox, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. And if I could throw a little bit of a change up here, I'll ask both leaders a question as opposed to just one.
Okay.
Mr. President, to you, if we could first, on the way here to Hanoi from Da Nang, you talked about your meetings with Russian President Vladimir Putin yesterday, in which
Yes.
you said you received further assurances from him that he did not meddle in the U.S. election.
That's true.
There was some uncertainty that brewed back in the United States over your statement that you said when he tells me that, I believe that he means it. That was taken in some circles, including Senator John McCain, to think that you believe that he is saying he did not interfere in the election. Could you once and for all, definitively, sir, yes or no, say whether or not you believe that President Putin and or Russia interfered in the election?
What I said, I'm surprised that there's any conflict on this. What I said there is that I believe he believes that, and that's very important for somebody to believe. I believe that he feels that he and Russia did not meddle in the election. As to whether I believe it or not, I'm with our agencies, especially as currently constituted with their leadership. I believe in our intel agencies, our intelligence agencies. I've worked with them very strongly. There weren't 17, as was previously reported. There were actually 4. But they were saying there were 17. There were actually 4. But as currently led by fine people, I believe very much in our intelligence agencies. Now, at the same time, I want to be able, because I think it's very important, to get along with Russia, to get along with China, to get along with Vietnam, to get along with lots of countries, because we have a lot of things we have to solve. And frankly, Russia and China in particular can help us with the North Korea problem, which is one of our truly great problems. So I'm not looking to stand and start arguing with somebody when there's reporters all around and cameras recording and seeing our conversation. I think it was very obvious to everybody. I believe that President Putin really feels, and he feels strongly, that he did not meddle in our election. What he believes is what he believes. What I believe is that we have to get to work, and I think everybody understood this that heard the answer. We have to get to work to solve Syria, to solve North Korea, to solve Ukraine, to solve terrorism. And, you know, people don't realize Russia's been very, very heavily sanctioned. They were sanctioned at a very high level, and that took place very recently. It's now time to get back to healing a world that is shattered and broken. Those are very important things. And I feel that having Russia in a friendly posture as opposed to always fighting with them is an asset to the world and an asset to our country, not a liability. And by the way, Hillary Clinton had the reset button. She wanted to get back together with Russia. She even spelled reset wrong. That's how it started, and then it got worse. President Obama wanted to get along with Russia, but the chemistry wasn't there. Getting along with other nations is a good thing, not a bad thing. Believe me, it's a good thing, not a bad thing. Okay, second.
President Quang, if I could ask a question of you, there are some people who believe that Vietnam could make an effective facilitator in bringing the United States and North Korea together to at least lay the groundwork potentially for negotiations. What do you believe Vietnam could bring to the table in that regard?
Về vấn đề Bắc Triều Tiên, chúng tôi
On North Korea
cam kết
issue,
thực hiện
Vietnam is committed
nghiêm túc các
to seriously observing all the relevant resolution of the UNSC, and we support the denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. and we'll do our utmost and do whatever we can to contribute to the denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. Thank you.
Steve Holland, yeah. Steve.
Xin cảm ơn. Xin cảm ơn Chủ tịch nước Trần Đại Quang.
Well, thank you, President Chun Dai-quang.
Mr. President, you tweeted this morning about trying very hard to be friends with Kim Jong-un. Is that really a possibility? What would it take for that to happen at this point? And for President Quang, could you comment on the President's offer to mediate the South China Sea dispute? Thank you.
Steve, I think anything's a possibility. Strange things happen in life. That might be a strange thing to happen, but it's certainly a possibility. If that did happen, it would be a good thing for, I can tell you, for North Korea, but it would also be good for lots of other places, and it would be good for the world. So certainly it is something that could happen. I don't know that it will, but it would be very, very nice if it did.
Về vấn đề Biển Đông,
With
tôi cũng
regard to
có chia
the
sẻ
South China Sea
với
issue,
Tổng thống Donald Trump
I
về
have
những diễn
shared
biến tình hình gần đây.
my thoughts with President Donald
Chúng tôi
Trump
chủ trương
on the recent developments
sẽ giải quyết
in
những
this
vấn đề
area, and it is our
mâu thuẫn tranh
policy
chấp
to
ở Biển
settle
Đông
disputes
thông qua
in the South China
đàm
Sea
phán
through
hòa bình
peaceful negotiations
bằng các biện pháp ngoại giao và pháp lý,
with
trên
respect
cơ sở
for
tôn trọng
diplomatic and legal
luật pháp quốc
process
tế, công ước về luật biển
in
năm
accordance with
1982.
international law, including the 1982 UN
Xin trân
Convention
trọng
on the
cảm
Law of
ơn
the
Chủ
Sea.
tịch nước
Thank you
Trần
very
Đại
much.
Quang và Tổng thống
Thank
Donald
you,
Trump. Tôi xin tuyên bố cuộc
President
họp
Chun
báo
Dai-quang
đến
and
đây kết thúc.
President
Xin
Donald
cảm ơn
Trump.
tất cả
We
các
have
quý
come
vị
to
và
the
các bạn
end of
phóng
the
viên.
press briefing today. Thank you all very much
Thank you.
for your participation.